that security problem. Oh, I got the truck hooked to it. See, I got my security flashing. See that? This morning went to start it. Clicked the key, nothing happened. I assumed it was a dead battery. Just because I've been sitting here for a really long time. And I thought, well, down with it, I just grabbed my truck. Alright, still recording, I believe. Yeah, good enough. The tires are getting a little low in this thing too. Let's get back to that. I can close the hood on this thing. That's a new dent. Oh, here we go. Okay, so we got back into her. Security warning is just not flashing anymore. All right. So if I were to shut the key off, starts right up. All right, she's a new day. New day, new way. Back to our security system here. What we're gonna do is grab the wire that goes to the harness. This goes to the ignition module. This goes to the harness. Okay, so all right. Get the yellow. There we go. So we got the black, white, and yellow. We're not touching the white. Okay, we're not touching the white. We're going to take the yellow. One end goes into the harness. And then loops around and goes into the ignition switch. So I'll cut the yellow. The old snippers out. Go in here, put in no return. This is always on return. You can always repair wiring. Right there. Here's where we hope we have read the instructions fully. And we go snip. There we go. Okay. Here's the bundle. Black, white, yellow. I cut the yellow wire. I have this long lead. I want to take some shrink tube, slide it up there. So I got a little pack of shrink tube assortment. I just grabbed a piece out of there. That looks like it's going to cover over our resistor. I got a pack of resistors. Okay. This one hand. Yeah, okay. We'll just go like this. Not to work jeans. Go snip. Oh, I lost a piece. Okay. So I got a piece of shrink tube. I will go back. Okay. We'll take said shrink tube. Slide her up the wire. I don't know if I get in there without getting my freaking grubby mitt in the way. Probably not. Okay, so I got a piece of shrink tube over the yellow wire. I want to cut back some of the insulation off of it with I'm just going to use a razor. Trim back the wire. Okay. Let's go to my little pack of resistors. These guys are right here. I had to buy them in a pack of 10. Here's the resistors I'm using. got the worst. Focus, you fuck. There we go. So that's the what I'm using right there. I only need one, but I had to buy a pack of 10. Let me give it a... Alright, so I got... If this phone would fucking focus. Holy shit. I got the resistor. Oh, there we go. I got the tight wrap on the resistor. Oh, it is not being able to focus. Okay. Next thing, I'm going to solder it. And remember, I have the shrink tube on the wire. Got the solder out and glue it together. Got that soldered on. Can't really see it in the phone camera. Can't really see it. Then got the shrink tube. Slide right down. Sorry about the camera, but we're getting what we're getting, I guess. Next is I want to peel back some insulation off the black wire. There. So there's the bypass. Seems sort of happy. I'll drive this thing for a while and she be what she be. Got another Alero sitting right there. That's my other son's Alero. And yeah. Alright, cool. I'll put the stereo back in it. Faceplate all back on. I got that thing to work on. That thing's a weird issue. We put an aftermarket stereo in it. I tied into the old factory wires. Everything's fine. That one there, I gotta diagnose the problem. The accessory circuit or the power circuit going to the stereo cuts out. It'll work fine, and then it'll just stop working. I don't know if there's a circuit breaker in there. It seems like a circuit breaker kind of thing. But that'll be our next. Hey, maybe I'll put a video on that one. Yeah, they're both 03 Aleros. Well, here's kind of an update. Not on the white car, but for the black one. You know, I said we put an aftermarket stereo in the black one. This has an aftermarket stereo in it here. I was going to put this all back together and come across this. What the fuck is this? Pack audio. GM warning chime and a radio replacement interface. Is that why the radio in the black car keeps cutting out? Do I have to put one of these in? What the fuck is this thing for? You know, it's just kind of a coincidence that I have two 03 Grand Ams. One that has an aftermarket stereo already in the car that works and functions, everything's fine. And one that we put an aftermarket stereo in it that doesn't work. The power circuits would cut out. Both of them, there's two power going to the freaking stereo. Can't figure it out. Like, I thought I knew what I was doing, you know? Hold on. There we go. You know, I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought, you know, I know how to test wires and hook things up, connect things. But sure enough, the stereo in that car doesn't work. It powers up, everything's fine, and then it'll cut out. And it'll just power off. And it's the wires going to the stereo. I checked them. I got the old freaking, you know, test light on her. Didn't use a DVOM. Ooh, didn't, you know. Anyway. So yeah, I had power on both those wires. When the stereo cut out, I'd lose power on those wires. The wires feeding the factory radio that I tied into to feed the factory, the aftermarket stereo. Poking around on this car, doing the ignition switch, you know, bypass to fix my security system dealio. And I thought, well, I'm in here. This has an aftermarket stereo, and I'm trying to diagnose the problem in the other car. I come across the wiring for it. Here's the factory connector, the one I tied into, and here's the whole wiring assembly. And it's got this stupid thing on it. So what the hell? I gotta do research. I think this might be the frickin' problem for the black car. Okay, so I found out something on these Aleros. And the black one now with the stereo problem. That little transducer interface module that the white car has. I just learned that GM needs that because the stereo is interfaced. It's the stereo is on a CAN network with the body control module. Body control module doesn't see the aftermarket stereo. Doesn't see it as a factory, obviously GM unit. That stereo won't talk to the body control module. The body control module says, hey, fuck yourself, we're taking the power away from you. You cut the power out, that's why the stereo cuts off. Okay, so you need the interface module to put a stereo in 03 Grand Am, Alero, whatever, you know, probably the Malibu, wherever is around on these ears. What the interface module does is the body control module talks to the stereo and on the CAN network. And when you change to an aftermarket stereo, it doesn't read the CAN network on the aftermarket stereo, obviously, because it's not programmed for all that stuff. It doesn't talk with the body module. The body module says, hey, who the hell are you? Get off my school bus. We're kicking you out. And then you lose power to the stereo. That's why this car was doing what it was doing. Poked around with that white car, found the interface module. It also has the beeper, chime, key on dealio. Well, so you need the interface module to put a stereo in an 03, aftermarket stereo in an 03 Alero Grand Am. Or do you? No. I'm not doing it in this black car. Not that I don't want to spend the money on the module, it's just that, well, it's discontinued, it's hard to find. Found some other places. It's just a hassle, man. So I'm just finding a key on switch power, which I did find one. I will show you how to do it. Right, so I pulled the instrument cluster out just to get access to the back of the ignition switch. That's your VATS wiring right there. The back of the ignition switch, I found the connector for the wiring. I traced it around. Somebody was in here before, and I think they did the VATS bypass because they did a. I'm not going to uncover that tape. However, focus. That brown wire right there that I took the insulation off of. I believe that's the wire for the wipers. It's a big heavy gauge, but it's a key on power. We are going to tie in, because my stereo wiring is here, down. So what I did is I tied into the factory stuff. It's all heat shrinked and soldered. And then here's the power. I've got a key on power, battery power. But I went off of the, I can't remember what color I used. The brown wire? The brown with the key on. Anyway, so good times. Okay, so I got her tied into that brown wire. Taped her up. I put just a chunk of wire on it. Alright, so now I have a key on power going to my stereo. It's not on the CAN network. There we go. So I'll go back here. I'll find out what wire. I have the instructions still for this manual. I want to put her in. I saw the installation instructions for this head unit, so I'm gonna find out what power wire was from the body module, and I'm now going to use it just a key on switch power to turn on my aftermarket stereo. No interface module, nothing required, just a little bit of poking and prodding. That's a big heavy brown wire. I gotta see what the wire is. I think it's the wipers, which brings up another thing. Am I going to get radio feedback, stereo feedback when I have the wipers on? I'm going to find out once I get her assembled. I'll carry on. All right, quick update on the. So I drove the Alero around, the white car, for a couple months, and the security system's good. So that initial, I must have confused it when I initially put the resistor in, because I had to wait for that 10 minutes for the security light to go out. But then after that, it's fine. So if you run into that situation, don't panic, don't freak out. Carry on, proceed, move forward. So, and the black car, the other Alero with the stereo problem, that's cured. I took the key on power from that brown wire, and that's all good. I didn't have to buy one of those little interface modules, which I could have, I guess, but I don't know, man. I wanted to get it done. Order the parts. It seemed like a pain in the butt when all I need is a key on source. You do lose your chime. Your headlights are on, your key and ignition chime. So apparently the GM uses the stereo in those cars for the chime. But anyway, But anyway, nosy dog. Off to the beer store. Grab some supplies for tonight. I'll finish stripping out that truck. RX-7 videos are coming. Right there. So there you go. That's an 03 Alero, old Alero, same as a Grand Am. I'm sure maybe a Bonneville or whatever else GM had at that time. Sure works for that too. And there's your answer for your aftermarket stereo installation. If anybody ever says, oh, you need this, you need that, well, yeah, maybe to do it proper, I suppose. Do you really need it? We're just listening to music and don't care about your freaking keys in the ignition chime and your headlights are on chime, and don't want to spend the extra $100 on a module that's discontinued and you gotta freaking buy a knockoff dealio. Getting looked at. Oh, this guy's a weirdo. Strange fella. Alright, anyway. I'll end this video. Okay, bye.